Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday Eve. Hope our last week of July and week has been well so far. One more month of winter. Could you believe it? And we should be into some wonderful spring weather. Presuming spring doesn't get delayed, because some of these seasons tend to be delayed sometimes, isn't it? Wow. Okay, so today I would like to do the preview of the North Melbourne game, which is this coming Sunday at 1:40 at Marvel. It's the final home game for St Kilda this year for 2025, because the remaining games are away games for the Saints according to the fixture. So please do get down there and support the boys for one last time in their home deck. Before I get to that, I still cannot believe how the Saints pulled off that victory on Sunday. I'm not underestimating it, but it was a miraculous comeback. Because when I was very close to doing another honourable loss video, I ended up, and I was about to question competitiveness and spirit and effort. Rather, I ended up talking about how good the win was. So, great victory, and Nasai Wanganeen Malera and his heroics that was supported by the team will never be forgotten. Before we start the preview, just wanted to announce some very good news. We have some contract signings happening. So, Max Hall has inked a 2-year deal with the Saints, tying him through to the end of 2027. Great news for the club. Been a very good first-year player and such a well-composed and measured player for his first year. And very, very mature the way he goes about it, and he'll be an absolute asset for us. Next, Filippo's closing in on a deal that takes him through to 2030. I think that's free agency at the time, and that's really exciting. And then Win Hager, I think, will be closing in on a 2-year deal too. So 2 years, and another big signature would be Nasai Wanganeen Malera. Wouldn't it be great, Saints fans, if he signs that paper as soon as possible? Because at the end of the day, I know he's not a free agent. He won't walk for free. And what do Port Adelaide and Adelaide have in return to give to him if he goes? They have absolutely nothing. It takes more than giving 2 to 3 key players of theirs with some picks in return. So it's not just you get him for free and that's it. There's going to have to be a good trade involved if anything happens. But the way he went about his celebrations, the way he was on Ross's shoulders when they had an after party or a party after that, tells me that I just don't see him leaving. He just is so invested in the club, and just, he never looks checked out. Okay, he's a guy. I mean, if he looked checked out, he wouldn't have got St Kilda over the line. It would have been either a draw or an honourable loss yet again. So he looked invested. He worked it out very smartly with Rowan Marshall when Melbourne made a mistake with the 6-6-6 rule in the last 8 seconds of Sunday's game. Went back with the flight, took the mark, and took it on himself to win the game for St Kilda at the age of 22. How many 22-year-olds do that in this day and age? Try and come up with many, because I can't think of many on myself. So, but till he signs, it is all unofficial. So let's pray for the good news, and no doubt he's going to be such a good asset for us going forward. Okay, over to this Sunday's game, up against North, who have surprised some teams with some wins earlier in the year, but have been very disappointing since their last upset win against Carlton in terms of uncompetitiveness, not showing any fighting spirit, getting beaten everywhere. And this is a chance for St Kilda, no disrespect to North, to win 2 in a row since round 4 this year. And again, don't take North lightly, still bring your A-grade game. If they can bring anything close to their last quarter performance, you can pencil this as a victory, that's for sure. And they will be getting some names back in the teams are going to be announced, it's 5:30 now, or 5:35ish, and the teams will be announced in the next 50 minutes. But from what I have read, I think we got Matthias Filippo coming back, Dougal Howard maybe, Travalia, Darcy Wilson, probably a few more. So we'll have to see who makes way this week. But geez, it's going to be a tough one to select who has to make way for them, because this is the team that won last week, and it was a team effort to get Saints over the line. So it's going to be interesting during selection. Now, with North, whilst they've been pretty below par with their performance this year, one thing they're pretty good is with their run and gun, their tackles, their pressure at times. So you give them a little bit of sniff, and they can get a run on. However, the set shots on goal most times have been a bit off as well, so that's what keeps the other teams in. So St Kilda, from the get-go, should be on their game and pretty much get close to their last quarter performance to try and win this, okay? I'm not worried about blowing out North Melbourne. I just want the win, okay? Yes, it's about draft picks, but you need to have a winning formula. You're going to get some big names in the off-season that we know about floating around, and we're going to be adding to this list, okay, so we can contend at the earliest. So winning formula is very important. Like I said, keep Hawthorn as an example. Yes, they're still building their list, but they always create their winning culture because, yeah, winning builds the trump for everything. Winning is what can attract players from other clubs too. It's one of the strong catalysts for attracting big names. Okay, not winning every game, but overall having a winning culture. Okay, North, in terms of their forward line, if Nick Larkey gets up, they're going to have Nick Larkey, Darling, and Cam Zerha. So you would think it'll be Wilkie, Taru, and probably if Keeler can come, Caminiti, if Keeler can come in and Caminiti goes back on one of them, that would help that. And then they've got Luke Davies, Uniacke, Jai Simkin, Charlie Combin, Harry Sheasel, probably during the midfield. Luke Davies, Uniacke has been a little bit below par for his standards this year, so he's not been great, but expect some of them to bounce back individually. So no doubt guys like Windy, Naz, if Darcy Wilson through the middle, then Hunter Clark, Still McRae will get the job on them. You want to be starting in the middle. The advantage St Kilda has over North, there's a couple of advantages, but the huge thing is they don't have Tristan Sherry, who's their weapon ruckman. So I think they'll have Teakle, I don't know the full gentleman's name, but he's just a stand-in ruckman till Tristan Sherry's back. He'll go up against Rowan Marshall. So here's a chance for Marshall to really get the first use. Because Tristan Sherry is their main ruckman. He's their weapon ruckman. And without him, it gets even harder for North. Okay? This is a chance for Marshall to give Saints first use, tap it down to the Clark, Steele, Naz, McRae, whoever, and get it through and lower your eyes to the forward line. Okay? You've got a plethora of options available from Mitch Owens, Cooper Sharman, probably Keeler if he comes in. Then you've got Filippo if he goes down, if he gets through. Then you got Higgins, and then Lance Cole. Lance Cole will be it. Probably Henry maybe if he comes in. So they've got some options, Brad Hill, and all that. So there's available of or a variety of forwards they can lower their eyes and pass the ball to. And very important for Saints is to tighten up the foot skills, be quick out of the blocks from the start. Fast starts will be very awesome. I know last week against Melbourne we won, but we were very slow out of the blocks the first quarter. Absolutely slow. It was more like, as I said in my last video, this was like training drill for Melbourne. We made Melbourne look like their 2021 form, like their top four contending for a flag. That's how Melbourne, that was the best first quarter I've seen in Melbourne in a while. That's how good St Kilda worked them into form. I've never seen guys like Bailey Fritsch kick 3 in a first quarter. I know Bailey Fritsch can kick 3 to 5, can kick a bag in a game, but to kick 3 of those in the first quarter, I've never seen that. I think there's the first, and that's probably the first time I've seen their young players firing up in front of goal. And the second quarter or third quarter, that was just like picnic for them. That was probably Petrarca, one of Petrarca's better games since he's been out of form. Clayton Oliver. Some of them had some ripping games. The players, especially who have been out of form, have had some ripping games. But they ended up, not winning. I mean, they ended up dominating, and St Kilda just couldn't go with them. Okay? So, we have to start well. Okay? Put on early scoreboard pressure, lower your eyes, bring forward the momentum, and don't take North lightly. Okay? I know they're a bottom 2 team, but do not take them lightly. Again, football's a game of inches, no matter who you play. You're off by a few seconds, few minutes, or a few inches, whatever you want to call it, dimension-wise, you'll be exposed. And you'll be exposed somewhat. It's just that the good teams will expose you badly. The teams in the bottom 8 will expose you still. Might not be as bad as what the good teams do, but it's pretty intense. So do not take them lightly. Turn up, put the pressure on, and start well in the midfield. That's where it's going to be won and lost. Okay. Luke Davies, Uniacke has been pretty disappointing as of lately, but I expect some of them to bounce back, okay, into some form and try to make amends, because this is a North Melbourne on the rebound. Backs to their wall, coming off a massive thumping to Geelong from last week. Embarrassed by Geelong for uncompetitiveness and not showing any effort. So you expect them to come out and, show something to their supporters. So we be ready for that and combat that accordingly. And where St Kilda can get North Melbourne is through our pressure, tackle and pressure gauge, outside run, taking the game on, and also with our contested possessions. I think we can beat them, okay? Do not let them get first use and go to the forwards. Do not let guys like Larky, Zaha, or Jack Darling have a day out, especially Larky or Zaha. If Larky makes it to the team this week, because I know he's been out the last few weeks. So don't let them have a field day, okay? They don't have to have a perfect day, but they can have moments that can hurt you. So be on top and do not let them have any influence whatsoever working for them, okay? All right, I'll be pretty much wrapping it there. One thing I wanted to mention at this Sunday's game, they'll be playing the last quarter of the St Kilda Melbourne game, I think at 12:30. So those who are getting down there early have a good chance to see that on TV. I've seen the replay a lot of times myself. I think I just couldn't help but see it a lot of times because that's how memorable a comeback it was. And then I think the bounce of the ball is at 1:40. Last home game of the year. Get down to the game if you can and support the boys one last time for their home game this year. And finish it off because August is the month St Kilda can bank on their wins, to be honest, with the teams that they're playing around them and below them on the ladder. They bring some effort and they can bank on their wins. I really want them to take some momentum into the off season and get ready for next year and reset, okay? The other thing I just wanted to mention, I forgot to do it at the start, was acknowledge my sponsor. So if you see on the top right corner, you see what's called Saitree Foods. They're a sponsor of my YouTube channel. They are a well-known manufacturing company that sells Indian dough to make steamed pancakes, fried pancakes, and they also sell some wonderful cold Indian sweet and salt beverages and some yogurt. So you can find them out on the internet, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank them for being my sponsor. On the left-hand side, you'll see Roki School of Excellence. Roki School Excellence is an academic tutoring school founded by my wife and I. It's been there for a while. We basically do group and individual tutoring for years 5 to 12 maths and a little bit of South Indian classical drums and an octopad, which is an electrical percussion instrument, as well as some jazz drumming. So if you have a child or anyone who you know is interested in enrolling, enrollments are open, please do get in contact with me and we'll be happy to talk further on it, okay? I'll leave it there, guys. Enjoy your week. Have a great, stay safe, another happy football weekend. My next video will be when we review the game, probably on a Sunday evening, Sunday night. And yeah, if there's any other content to talk about, updates regarding contracts, whatnot and all, I'll be sure to do a video on that in between. But till then, take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you on Sunday. Bye-bye.